Hi, and welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, July 1st of 2024. I'm Giovanni Betancourt, analyst, trader, and educator with Vantage Markets, and this is being recorded previous to the open of the U.S. session. Alrighty, so another month. Okay, so we are halfway the year, and investors may well look back at this first half, which had numerous record closes for stocks as simpler times. All they needed to worry about was how much technology stocks were gaining and how much the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates at some receding point in the future. There are already warning signs that the rest of the year could be more complicated. Politics will make for uncertain times. The presidential election is still 5 months away, but it's already becoming all-consuming. That was in evidence last week when President Joe Biden's unsteady performance at the first debate Thursday evening overshadowed inflation data Friday morning. That data from the U.S. Department of Commerce on Friday showed that the U.S. Core PCE Price Index, a key inflation gauge monitored by the Federal Reserve, came in at positive 0.1% month over month and plus 2.6% year over year in May, in line with expectations. Now, from the market's perspective, Friday's PCE report was near perfect. The Fed's favorite inflation indicator not only showed inflation was moving towards the Fed's inflation target, but that economy was resilient. Consumer spending was on the rise, and take-home pay also up after a couple of sluggish months. Now, the battle up against inflation has not yet been won, emphasizing that the U.S. economy is expected to stay resilient as long as unemployment stays low and as evaluations remain high. Also, given the remarkable strength we are seeing in the economy, being receptive to the notion that the longer-term equilibrium rate balancing supply and demand has shifted up somewhat and that policy may not be as restrictive as perceived. Now, taking a look at the markets for this week, we're going to be taking on Wednesday, the markets will be closed early and remain closed on Thursday because of the Independence Day holiday. Okay, some of the news that we're going to be taking a look for this week, also will be the non-farm payroll report and non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday. Okay. Also on the other side of the pond, the Euro stock futures, they're up about positive 1.06%. And that's in line with investors digested the outcomes of the first round of France's snap parliamentary election. Asian stock markets today settled in the green. China's Shanghai Composite Index closed up positive 0.92%, and Japan's Nikkei closed up 0.12%. So let's take a look at what we could expect to be seen in today's market fluctuation in the Nasdaq. All right, so in front of us, we have the Nasdaq daily candlestick chart. Okay, and as we see here, this is the day on June 20th that we made that move to the new all-time high. Okay, so from this high created last week, we created a double bottom from there. Okay, from this double bottom that was created also in the previous week, we rebounded and stayed close to the 20,000 pivot point marker, being a psychological round number. RSI is under the borderline of entering overbought territory, but as we considered, for the first day of the month, the first day of the semester, where can we perhaps see some fluctuation? And so far, we can say that we probably will stay within Friday's trading range and just be having a low key day anyhow. So anyway, initially buying the index. As far as the S&P 500 goes, we are actually in the red for it. So, but still, I'm still thinking also the same as the NASDAQ, some sort of a just choppiness and not that much of fluctuation. At this moment, if we were to open, we would be opening to the downside, obviously being the red. But perhaps we could contemplate the idea that if it does continue to move lower, it'll come down and just rebound off this a support level. But when it does that, if it does, as it continues to drop, that's when I'll buy. For now, I'll be out of it. I'm neutral in the S&P. The Dow Jones. Okay, so the Dow Jones is just really creating this customer congestion. I am favoring a breakout to the upside. So 39,700 is my target. So buying the Dow. Let's take a look at crude oil. All right, so crude oil, we are at the $82 marker. Nice round number. Looking to bounce off from here. So I'm being bullish, buying crude oil, Nat Gas. Okay, so Nat Gas, perhaps it has found that particular support and it'll rebound from here. It did open with a big gap down though. It has been closed. So will we just continue to move lower? And I'm just gonna use this doji, the lower wick, as that level of. I'm just gonna go with the momentum to the downside. So I'm selling Nat Gas. Gold. All right, so gold also is looking to stay just flattish, around the pivot point. Looking at the medium of the Bollinger Band to be a pivot point. So I'm just gonna stay out of it for today. It could rally to the upside as well. It could just falter. Anyhow, in regards to silver, it's looking more of a momentum to the upside. Look, I will be cautiously buying silver and perhaps even gold. So being cautious. So I take that back on gold, cautiously buying it. All right, so copper seems to be rebounding after making this double bottom last week. So let's see if 445 would be the target will be met. So buying copper. Then we have Bitcoin. It's moving higher every single day. Okay, so now it's entering a uptrend. Okay, so let's go with it. 64,000. That's a target for it. And then we have the currencies. The euro. Oh, euro opened with a strong gap up after all the news came out. So let's see if it'll be able to sustain that momentum, or will just be one of those where they'll come to close that gap. Let's see, 107 it will be the support. So going with the side of the gap, so buying it. The pound also looking to a nice momentum. It opened with a smaller gap up, hitting close already. All right, buying the pound. So dollar index, oh, it opened with a big gap down, and it continued to fluctuate to the downside. It has looking to recover, perhaps now that it has been closed. If we take the wick, some places know you gotta take where the candle opens to be closed. But we could also just mention somewhere in the middle. But again, if the dollar index does continue to suffer to 105, we'll see a nice movement on the upside of the metals and the currencies, and perhaps also commodities. That's it for me today. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you tomorrow.